Nottingham and Derby branch talk of 2024. So I'm really pleased to welcome Farhad back for another talk. This time he's going to be talking about AI ethics. So for just a starting point, if I can get my slides to change. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
It's getting a bit late for saying that. At some point we need to stop, don't we? But I think it's fine today. Okay, so just a few things to kind of think about while we're in the meeting. So we're keeping microphones and videos off during the presentation, so that people not just too distracting for the speaker. I will allow people to unmute when it gets to the Q&A section, but you can also kind of type your questions into the chat as well, and we'll do questions at the end, which is the next point. Just a few things, just basically be a nice person, be aware of the others in the room, welcoming, respectful, friendly and patient, kind and considerate, and understanding of differences, and open to questions and viewpoints, and then we shall have a lovely evening together. So for those of you that are not BCS members and haven't been to our talks before, I do still need to get these this updated. It's been well over a year now and I haven't got this updated with me down as chair. It's still got Paul's lovely picture there. But if you want to find out more about us, kind of who we are, what we do, what we've done in the past, then you can go to the BCS website. You can also find our BCS group on LinkedIn as well, where we'll put some kind of adverts about what's coming up and stuff. Okay. Next one. You see, I'm so not used to using Zoom. We use Teams all the time at work, and once I come onto Zoom, I don't know what I'm doing.
You're right, Bev. You're right.
And I can't change my slides. Right. Okay, I believe this is still the count. If you're not a BCS member and want to join, you can get a 20% discount for a new membership using the code BCS-NOTS20. I believe that is still ongoing there. Our next event is the 19th of Feb. We're just working on finalising the speakers for that. So do keep an eye on Eventbrite, LinkedIn, emails for more information about that. If you're interested in doing a talk yourself, hopefully this link again is still works. I'll post these links in the chat whilst Fahad's speaking as well. You can propose a talk there as well. Okay, so that's it from me. I shall stop sharing and I will pass straight over to Farhad for his AI ethics talk.
Thank you, Bev. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep, can see that fine, thanks.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this session, not only on behalf of BCS, but also I'm wearing a different hat. I represent IEEE, hence the connection and mention of IEEE and their AI ethics. Now, I've tried to make this talk more of a relevant talk to what is happening here and now. I don't want to engage in too many philosophical debates and discussion, but look at what is happening right now. As you know, things are moving so quickly in this field of technology that we need to make sure that we catch up with it. Let's start from here. If I can, there we go. My agenda is fairly simple. I hope that you won't be bored. I'm going to talk about AI for a little bit, highlight the real causes of concern, discuss AI ethics, the most important factor here, the global regulatory landscape and trend, and I will give you a presentation about AI ethics and their approach and framework under a program called Certified, and put forward my thoughts as to what next. Now, if you have any questions, I think the best approach would be to raise them at the end. I'd be happy to stay and discuss. Let's look at artificial intelligence. I'm trying to move away from discussing computers, bits and bytes and everything like that. If we look at artificial intelligence, we can define it as a transformation vehicle. What we have data, we turn it into information that turns into knowledge, and knowledge is transferred into understanding before it becomes wisdom. Data, effectively raw input, information is processed data, knowledge is applied information, understanding is putting or giving a context to the knowledge, and wisdom is where we can make informed decisions. Now, this is what we have been trying to do with our children, from where they when they're born to when they grow. They collect data and gradually learn to turn that data into information, and gradually they become knowledgeable and understanding and wisdom. Unfortunately, this is not something that happens on a regular basis. If we consider our politicians as elite in the society, I probably don't put them even where I have marked. What I have marked is roughly where we are with AI. We have developed a lot of technology. We are the border of knowledge and understanding, in my opinion. But what is the cause of concern? Why we weren't so concerned when other technologies were developed, things like IoT, things like Bitcoin and all that sort of technology. The real cause for concern is the journey from automation to autonomy. Now, we are, as humans, used to being autonomous and control everything else. Now we are seeing a threat coming our way where machine can assume autonomy, and that is not a very good thing. Now, let's look at accountability and impact issues. These are the real things that the leaders of the society are worried about. Artificial intelligence is said to affect nearly 40% of all jobs. This also worsens the inequality in the society. Now, this is hot off the press. I was listening to the radio coming to work this morning. This was broadcast by BBC as an article that was published by International Monetary Fund. Going back to 2013, Financial Times published an article telling that generative AI is set to affect 300 million jobs across major economies. But they also said that technology could boost global GDP by 7%, but also risk creating significant disruption. Now, I don't know which one is more worrying. The fact that 300 million people's jobs are going to be affected, or a risk of disruption. But whatever is happening, somebody is making money. 7% increase in GDP is not something that could be ignored. So there are positives and negatives here. So that is why everybody is concerned, whether it is the Joe public or leaders of the society. If you look at the AI and its evolution, we see that a really useful development can be attributed to just before 2010, where the Siri app was created. Only a year after that, Siri made itself onto mobile phones. Go forward, you will see Tesla introduce their autopilot feature for their Model S at around 2015. And of course, Google DeepMind's AlphaGo beats chess champ in a tournament. And of course, the most significant thing that people talk about is the creation of ChatGPT, which came in December 22. And of course, that brought AI and concern about AI ethics to people's home. And of course, this is exactly where we witnessed heightened concern about AI ethics, whilst we became excited about what it could do for us. Now, I'm looking at it from a different angle. I've got a table that I've borrowed from one of the IEEE publications that shows the interest in AI, which was done through searching Google Scholar citation from 1985 going up to 2020. You will see that in 1985, there was just one paper. And then from 87 to 90, there was no paper. And you can see the years after, people lose interest. Maybe somebody writes about AI ethics, but soon they lose interest. But as we get closer to 2010, it starts picking up, where in 2020, we've got 342 citations with AI or ethics in the title of the publication. And of course, that was before we had ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure that if they conduct the same research and work out the numbers for the years after 20, that would be a lot more. Now, when AI started picking up, governments around the world started taking notice. At the moment, there are 53 governments that have started developing strategies around AI. You would actually see that Japan and Canada started developing their strategies around 2017. UK did that in April 2018. And of course, EU started working on their strategy around 2018, autumn 2018. So you will see more or less all the major economies are looking at it. Even countries that you wouldn't have imagined, like UAE or Kenya, they have started looking at AI and develop strategies that will help them and their population. Now, let's have a look at the definition. Definition of ethics is a branch of knowledge, philosophy that deals with moral principle. That is all well and good. The problem comes from definition of morals, where consideration of right and wrong is a function of any particular culture or society. So something that might be acceptable in the UK might not be acceptable in a different jurisdiction, or vice versa. So that is what causes issues. Now, the principal ethics theories have been around for a long time. I don't want to dwell too much on this. We've got consequentialism or utilitarianism, deontologies, and virtue ethics. And these are all topics or theories that have been discussed widely. I don't think their discussion is relevant here. We can actually talk about it if it becomes necessary, but I thought it is useful to mention them in case you have not come across them. You can search by the name and find what they are. But the important thing for us is to recognize what are the ethics principles in AI technology. We've got algorithmic bias, transparency and explainability, accountability, privacy, fairness, responsible governance, safety, security, and dependability. Now you will see a whole range of these, or some of them in various jurisdictions with different emphasis on different aspects. Now let's look at the trends in developed economies. I've been collecting a lot of data as not only I'm a certified assessor for AI, but I'm a member of expert panel, 40 strong expert panel internationally that involved in reviewing and revising the existing criteria for AI ethics for IEEE. Ernst & Young conducted a research, and in 2003, they published their paper, effectively producing something that I was collecting bits and bobs here and there. They looked at 8 particular developed countries, economies: Canada, China, EU as a whole, Japan, Korea, Singapore, UK, and USA, which I've listed based on alphabetical order. And they produced a report, which I found very interesting. Some of the stuff that I had collected was in there, some new stuff that came to light. But they have set or identified 5 regulatory trends altogether. Number 1 is the AI regulation and guidance under consideration for its consistency with the core principle for AI, based on what was approved and accepted by OECD and endorsed by the G20. And of course, the key aspect was respect for human rights, sustainability, transparency, and strong risk management. Number 2 in the list was the proposal that the AI regulation was being considered to align with fundamental principles set by the OECD and, of course, endorsed by the G20. I think I may have put the wrong information here, but bear with me. I think there is a duplication here. Next one was to look at the 8 jurisdictions and look at the way they approach their AI ethics, and they come to the conclusion that all these 8 jurisdictions was looking at AI ethics based on a risk-based approach. And of course, that is the best, because they all perceive that risk of AI to core values like privacy, non-discrimination, transparency, and security can be upgraded and updated as technologies do change. Next one is the AI regulatory trend. Because of the varying uses and use cases of AI, some of these jurisdictions are focusing more on need for sector-specific rules, while some other consider more agnostic regulation. For instance, EU AI Act considered a regulatory framework where it oversees everything, whilst the UK, for instance, is looking at sector-specific, very much like what we do here, like we have Ofcom, Ofwat, of whatever else. So they are looking to introduce sector-specific rules that apply to different sections of the industry. Number 5 is the jurisdictions are undertaking AI-related rulemaking within the context of other digital policies that they are reviewing. These are things like cybersecurity, data privacy, intellectual property rights, and whatever else that could be incorporated in this digital policy. And of course, when you look at the relative positioning of these regulation, you will actually see that they plot quite nicely according to the legislative stringency and the enforcement. For instance, EU probably has the toughest laws, and one of the jurisdictions that enforces the rules more closely. Was, if you look Singapore, they enforce the rules very very hard, but their legislative structure and level is not as stringent as some others. And of course, you can see where UK stand, where US stand. One of my colleagues in the review team is from America. He's a corporate lawyer and a physicist, and he was telling me that the AI Bill of Rights, which is the equivalent of EU AI Act, and the UK legislation, which is currently being considered, is being passed between Senate and the House, the other House of American Parliament. I've forgotten the name, Senate and House of Representatives, because they are concerned about the big industry, the big tech industry in the US, and they don't want to make things so hard for them so that they lose their edge in the commercial battle that is being waged internationally. Now, this is what happens across the world. Now, I said that the different jurisdictions, different countries, they started introducing their strategy and worked on their ethics standard. EU AI Act, I think, is either has already turned into law or is about to be released soon. I haven't looked at it recently, but it was supposed to become law in January. Americans, as I said, they are deciding which way they go to make sure that they balance between the enforcement and the regulatory standards to make sure that their companies are not disadvantaged. When this was going on, IEEE started looking at this particular area, and being the organization that they are and the capabilities that they have, they started putting together their own AI ethics framework. The work started in 2018, and that has utilized the IEEE 7000 framework, which is used for safety and surety. Now, what they did, that was effectively dealing with industrial applications. They applied it to AI, and of course, they produced the AI ethics framework. Basically, what it does, its principle is based on a value-based approach where concepts are explored, the concept of operation is explored, and ethical values are elicited and prioritized before they apply the ethical requirements, and of course that gives the ethical risk-based design process. Now, that was how they looked at and defined the process for trustworthy AI solutions, and of course they extended that, and they decided that because of the AI, the fact that we are dealing with often black box, it is not good enough to leave decision making to people who are developing the solution. There needs to be a form of assessment and verification that is independent of the solution provider. So they turned the system, and they created this framework where IEEE offers an independent service to those who are producing AI systems and solutions, where they can assess the trustworthiness of the solution, and if they were successful in satisfying the assessors and the standards that have been set, then they will be given a seal of approval from IEEE, very much like ISO principle, or a number of different principles that standards that exist, where organizations can apply and get accreditation to prove that what they produce is good enough or persistent and consistent enough. So this is what forms the foundation. They considered stakeholders as being the developers, integrators, operators, and regulators. And of course, they came up with a risk criteria, which is very much like the one that is being used by EU, which is for solutions that have minimal risk, like AI-enabled video games, spam filters, or even AI assistants used by a number of applications that are now being produced. Then the next tier is solutions with limited risks that includes AI systems that are specific transparency requirement, like chatbots, emotion recognition systems, and such like. They identify also high-risk solutions where care needed to be taken, make sure that those solutions and applications are suitable for entering the society, things like transportation system, things like safety critical system, employment, education access, border control, justice system, and anything that fits into that type of application. And of course, there are certain application areas where the risk is not acceptable: social scoring, facial recognition, dark pattern AI manipulation, things like this were deemed as unacceptable no matter what you do. So the idea is that if you are developing or providing solution that fits the bottom category, which is minimal risk, you can effectively self-certify, confirm that you have followed the principles for design and conform to ethical standard, and that would be sufficient. But for those that fall into limited or high risk category, it is something, particularly for high risk, it is something that requires independent verification. Now, this is very important. I want to give an example, a recent example. I think we all remember the experience that we had during the pandemic. One particular application that the government put out was the app that was supposed to warn you if you were anywhere near somebody who tests positive. From about 80 million people, I don't know what was the proportion of people in the UK who effectively adopted and installed that app on their mobile phones. I certainly didn't, and I told my family that they shouldn't do. The reason for it is that you can't trust government. I came from this angle, and I don't think many people do trust the government or the private entities that benefit. I mean, you all remember what happened to PPE kit and all the stories that we had. Was there a possibility that some of your information could have been leaked? I don't know. Am I prepared to take a risk? Probably not. Certainly didn't. And of course, a lot of people adopted the same attitude. If there was some sort of independent verification, somebody that could look at these applications and say, this is really doing what it is supposed to do, rather than collecting information from where you are, whether you're sitting at home or you're breaking the rule and you go and meet your neighbor next door, that would have been more successful if there was some independent verification. So that is why it is important to consider the independent verification of solutions such as those that are talked about here. The process is fairly straightforward. You map, you measure, and you manage. Bring it to AI realm. We've got to map the concept of operation, identify the required level of conformity based on the level of risk, and then apply the ethical principles that we have identified. Now, what are these ethical principles? Respect for human autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and explicability. These are the core ethical principles that we need to adhere to. Now, how do IEEE do it is a little sort of different from the way the others are doing. As part of the work that I did for IEEE, I was reading other documents that was produced, let's say, EU AI Act or the proposed AI Bill of Rights for the USA. They are written primarily by lawyers, and they are written in legalese. Here, although we have lawyers who check every word that is put in the documents, but engineers are also involved. If you look at the picture at the middle, that is essentially a graphical representation of the risk-based factors. Now, what IEEE has done, they have created 5 different accountability suites, and of course, each accountability suite has got ontologies, taxonomies, and these taxonomies spread at various levels. For instance, for accountability, the taxonomies go up to 4 levels. The same is for algorithmic bias, which has got 7 ontologies, 147 taxonomies, and again, they go to level 4. And of course, the same applies to ethical privacy, responsible AI governance, and transparency, which each have got their own ontology, taxonomy, and spread around different levels. If we were to count, we have 765 different classes that contribute. Now, how these work, for those of you who are familiar with weight factor analysis, this has got something similar. Each attribute or class either contribute positively or negatively to success of an AI value or ethical value. So what we have, if we look at all of these different classes and look at how it has been defined, what is the level of risk, who are the risk owners, and what are the documentation and proof that is required to make sure that the requirements have been met, that enables IEEE to ask solution providers to look at all of these all of these documents answer questions, provide response to requirements, and based on the responses that they get, analyze the data and say, yes, this is good enough. No, it requires more work in this or that area. So this is how it works. But the most significant thing here for me, or what I found most interesting, is the fact that you can actually look at this particular standard as a graphical representation of various risks that contribute to potential risk of the final solution. Now, what is the way forward? I think as professionals, we need to take a lead on this. Now, I'm talking as somebody that has been involved for a while with these technologies. I readily admit that I don't know all that needs to know about these things. I'm pretty sure that some of the experts in this field would also tell you this. But I know that these experts have actually warned everybody about potential risks associated with AI or unchecked AI development. So what we have to do here, because we can't expect the average person to take this role as professionals that know something about this field, this area, we need to continue with our professional development. We need to get better at it. We need to become advocate for ethical AI practices wherever we work. We also need to create awareness about potential issues that we can come across. One of my colleagues told me the other day, he has shared the paper with me. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time to read the paper due to my teaching commitment, but apparently the new quantum computing is going to revolutionize AI. And there is a case of quantum computing has solved an algorithm that could take 74 years with the best computers we have today in 7 or 8 seconds. Now, could you imagine the level of power that type of hardware can bring about to this field if we are not on top of the AI? If we can't manage it, what could happen then? But we need to create awareness about potential issues. That is one of the duties that we have as professionals. We've got to promote establishment of independent professional bodies for regulatory oversight and independent certification. Now, IEEE is one organization. We have so many different organizations, British standards, ISO, any sort of different organization that can play that role. We need to have an NGO that is capable and has got the capability to effectively protect average Joe from what is happening in these tech companies. We all know about what is happening with social media and how people are sort of being treated, how youngsters find their way and targeted on social media. We have had internet for quite a while. There has been attacks from as long as I can remember, and we haven't done much to protect ourselves. So this is really something that is important, and we need to protect the public. You also need to be advocate for upskilling the workforce. Now, the two warnings that I mentioned early on in my talk, one from IMF, the other one by Financial Times, are all pointing to the fact that a lot of people's jobs are going to be affected. Of course, that is something that is likely to happen. A lot of people say that jobs are going to be lost. I'm sure some will be lost, but I am also confident that some of the old jobs will disappear and new jobs will take their place, and some of the existing people, some of the existing workforce need to be trained to effectively take on those roles. My final message is, whatever happens, what we shouldn't do is to throw the baby out with the bathwater. AI has potential to do a great deal for humanity. It was recently on the news that there was a major development in identifying the material that could be used in batteries, something that could have taken 20 years to work out different combination of materials together that could replace lithium batteries, have been identified by AI, and it has recommended a small number, and they are hoping that by analyzing the small numbers, they can actually find a replacement for this very rare and expensive material that we are going to need for protecting the environment. You know, the work that is going on about trying to find a cure for cancer, finding a replacement to antibiotics that we all need and are concerned about. So these are all the positive things that could happen, but we shouldn't let things get out of hand. We need to control and manage everything. And of course, my message to all of you who are here and listening to what I said is that we need to be not only look at the dark side, we need to look at the positive aspects and try and control AI and its harm to society. Now, as part of this, I started talking to IEEE from around late 21 when I came across this development, and have been working as part of the department to set up partnership with IEEE. We now have agreed for computer science department of NTU to become a center of excellence for AI ethics and apply AI ethics principle. We've got 9 members of staff who have gone through the course and have learned about this. We are actively trying to develop new courses for industry to teach our students who are going to graduate and go to industry to make sure that they are aware. And one of my cry to action is that we need to liaise and engage with industry, because the industry of today is likely to be affected by what comes down the line if they don't take action. We need to hear and learn from industry and try and mitigate and help them build what or continue to maintain what they have built. I have no more to say about this matter. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, then I'm happy to answer those. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Farhad. I'm just trying to find where the reactions have moved to on this so I can give you a clap, but I can't, so I'm just going to clap here. Okay, so yeah, if you've got any questions, post them in the chat, and I'm going to pass over to Raymond, who will manage the Q&A session, and I will allow people to unmute so we can come directly to you if we need to. And I think I did see a hand up somewhere as well. So over to you, Raymond.
Thank you so much, Bev. Thank you. Okay, so Brandon wants to just clarify in terms of the Gen AI article you were talking about. Was it from 2013? Just to clarify.
2023.
2023. Okay, that is
That's it.
perfect. Okay. All right. And Andrew wants to know, do you think that clinical safety case reports in relation to DCB B0129 and DCB 0160 will play an important part with regards to AI, or do you think it will only be external bodies?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with those two. What are those? Are they articles from EU AI Act?
Okay. Andrew Robinson, if you're here, would you want to clarify that question?
Yeah, they're standards within the Health and Social Care Act. So if we implement digital technology in the NHS, we have to make sure that it's clinically safe. So currently there are a couple of things that I'm working on where I need to do a clinical safety case, and they've got an AI aspect to it. So I'm just wondering, with what you were saying about AI being sort of in the future maybe being managed and approved by external bodies, would there be a need for the clinical safety case reports if the external bodies were approving them, or would they be working in, do you see it more working in partnership?
Okay, as you are working within the UK jurisdiction, as of yet, there are no regulations. Obviously, you are expected to follow. There would be some clinical oversight, but certainly the area that you are looking at is a high-risk area. And a high-risk area, if we were in Europe, you should have complied with the European standards. Now, my particular area of practice in AI ethics is accountability, and this is one of the areas of accountability. And the accountability isn't start and finish with those people who do the technical work. We are looking at the entire process, even the governance, the management process of the organizations that are involved. So I suspect that at some stage, not before long, you will have to comply with some sort of rules. Whatever those rules are, I can't tell you. I can tell you that there is going to be a special body that oversees AI application in medical area. So would be in banking and insurance. So would be in so many different sectors that we are dealing with today.
All right. Okay. Nathan wants to know, is there anything that AI can help with quickly, ethically, and efficiently that has been overlooked? I'm not too sure what you mean by that, Nathan. If you're here,
Well,
can you?
There, if I sort of have understood the question correctly, all you need to do is to sign up for Google Alert and put AI technology.
Right.
And you will receive on a daily basis new solutions and apps that come to forth. Now, here, what you have is you are limited by your imagination. One thing that I can tell you is that as part of my duties in IEEE, I chaired the Systematic Innovation Special Interest Group, and I introduced a solution based on systematic inventive thinking, where an Australian company had developed a software tool for it. Now, I purchased that for my students, for my postgraduate students last year, in fact, 18 months ago. And I was notified last year that they have interfaced it to ChatGPT, so that if you have something to design, if you want to come up with a new product or service, you can actually use the ChatGPT interface that has been made to this application to come up with ideas that you probably wouldn't have come up with. Now, I can verify, and of course, our school every year offers 5 prizes to postgraduate students across the school. I had 3 of my students who used that software receive that prize. I had only 5 students that I was supervising. So you can actually see that people will look at their area of work, their area of interest, and find an angle to apply AI. Of course, it is difficult for us to think about things that we don't know, but those people who are involved in any particular specialist area can actually decide how best to apply AI.
Right. Okay, Roger wants to know if there's any practical steps achieved internationally to protect society from unethical and malevolent actors working in rogue nations rather than liberal democracies.
Well, there isn't unless there is a consensus supported by goodwill. Now, we have a nuclear non-proliferation policy and a UN sort of organization has been overseeing it for such a long time. Has it achieved its aims and objectives? In my view, it hasn't. This is likely to go through this. In fact, I attended a meeting last week. This was organized by a gentleman, I think it was either from Nigeria or Kenya, who is within the AI, within the part of the UN that is looking at AI and AI ethics. He was warning that some of the organizations were actually using Africa as an area which had not been regulated as a place to start develop things. Now, we can't effectively employ kids to factories in the UK, but you and I and everybody else knows that big business often go to places like, I don't know, Sri Lanka, the Asian subcontinent, to build and make things, knowing full well that they are made by young children and people that are not treated well. So there is always this concern that people try to get around it. That is why it is important for the government. Even if you look at the developed economies, you can actually see the differences in their approach and the level of stringence that has been introduced to the standard and the way they enforce their rules. So it is to a certain extent naive, but we have to push for it.
Right. I know we are far behind time, so I will take the last one. And in relation to IEEE, are they by any chance considering cognitive systems, given that cognitive systems are composed of many AI tools, and we have a situation where cognitive systems composed of multiple certified tools and still threatening the society?
Yes, this practice, this assessment applies to anything that can affect society and human rights. So it applies to everything. It's just that how you look at a particular application and how you classify it and look at the use case.
Right. Okay. If your question wasn't answered, feel free to reach out to Dr. Fahad via LinkedIn, and he can respond in more detail. Thank you so much, Bev. Over to you.
I can actually click the unmute button. Yeah, thank you very much again, Fahad. Thanks, Raymond, and thank you to all of you in the audience. Some really interesting questions. Sorry we couldn't get through them all in the time that we had. It is obviously a very hot topic, and anything that's got ethics involved is always gonna cause lots of questioning and lots of discussions. So hopefully this is maybe just the first time we might touch on this, and hopefully we might come back to this in a different format at some point, maybe as more of a discussion session, given the questions that are there. Okay, so
can I just say something, Bev, just to interrupt you quickly? I am trying to effectively put together a forum where we can talk to people from other academic institutions and industry to try and see how we can help as a computer science department with the tools that we've got, with the expertise that we have, or try to develop around the ethics to see what society needs, and try and create some sort of forum for that. So maybe those who are interested can contact us, or contact BCS, contact yourself, and see how we can push this forward.
Yep, that sounds great. Thanks, Fahad. Okay, so yeah, thank you all again. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully see some of you at future events. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good
Bye.
night. Bye. Bye.